You've probably heard of sanctuary cities for undocumented immigrants, but how about sanctuaries for guns? It's what nearly every county in Virginia is now doing, vowing to resist state laws that they consider unconstitutional. This comes as Virginia Democrats are set to enact some of the most stringent gun regulations in a decade. Tonight, both sides say this will have big implications on who wins in Virginia this November. Our Devin Dwyer reports from Blacksburg.
The sleepy rolling hills of Southwest Virginia, once again at the center of America's age-old debate over guns.
We are on the air because there has been a serious shooting incident on the Virginia Tech campus.
13 years after a gunman terrorized the campus of Virginia Tech, killing 32 students and faculty, the horror from that April morning still fresh.
Like every few minutes, like the body count would go up and up and up, and I just sat on the couch and I cried and cried, and I just could not fathom.
Catherine Cable was born and raised in Blacksburg, Virginia. Her father was a professor at Tech in 2007, and while she didn't lose any loved ones that day, she says the massacre was a breaking point.
In a deep way, how somebody can just violently walk into your life and just shake it upside down, and just the impact of it is so huge. Like it's not just the people directly affected, but the ripple effect onto the community, and the feeling out of that is just it just changes the whole way you look at your life, to think that, to go from one of the people who thinks it can't happen here to being one of the people who knows it does happen here, and by God, it happens everywhere.
As a mother of two, Cable spent the last decade pleading with lawmakers to do something about gun violence, and watched in horror last year when tragedy struck again in Virginia Beach.
Do we have any idea what shooter's at? Shots fired, second floor.
Where a gunman took 12 lives at a municipal building. This month, Virginia's Democrat-led state government is set to answer those demands, enacting the toughest package of new gun laws in a generation, including limits on handgun purchases, tighter background checks, and new red flag laws.
This is the final sea change of everything we've worked for and been advocating for. I'd almost call it a blood price. Like, we paid the price, we buried our dead, you owe us. Like, you owe us these changes so that we can at least go to sleep at night knowing that it's a little less likely again.
The stringent new restrictions are not sitting well with many Virginia gun owners.
The phrase "awoken the sleeping giant" is probably the best way to describe the Second Amendment group now.
Mitchell Tyler and his family have owned a gun shop in Roanoke for years. He says sales are up dramatically since Democrats began pushing for tighter gun laws.
Gun owners are a threat to politicians at the ballot box. That is where we are most dangerous.
The shop has signed up hundreds of concerned customers for town hall meetings on the new restrictions and is registering new voters for 2020 on the spot.
Because of this groundswell of the sanctuary cities and counties, I think you'll see Virginia go red this year in the presidential election.
In January, more than 20,000 gun owners turned out in protest at the state capitol in Richmond.
They're not going to take away your rights.
And nearly every Virginia county has voted to declare itself a Second Amendment sanctuary for guns in opposition to the new laws. Sheriff Hank Parton of Montgomery County, home to Virginia Tech, and Sheriff Richard Vaughn of nearby Grayson County support the sanctuaries.
It's basically a statement from a jurisdiction that passes Second Amendment sanctuary status that we do not like these bills. A lot of folks feel like their defense mechanisms are being taken away from them.
We don't have a gun problem here in Southwest Virginia, and we also feel like that some of these new gun bills are going to be ineffective.
The sheriffs won't say whether they'll refuse to enforce the state's new gun laws, but many gun owners are hoping they'll do just that.
There are people that we're going to say sanctuary and I'm going to be safe. If you'll just pass this, they won't be able to prosecute us.
That belief concerned Chris Tuck, a criminal defense attorney and former Republican chairman of the Montgomery County Board of Supervisors. He took a stand in opposition to sanctuary status.
We did not have the authority to say they wouldn't be prosecuted. I was going to be truthful with people. And unfortunately, in this day and time, it seems like it's acceptable for politicians not to be truthful.
Tuck brokered a compromise, Montgomery County narrowly rejecting the sanctuary label, but formally expressing support for gun rights. At Virginia Tech, we found students respectful of each other, but deeply divided.
I still think that people should be afforded the right to protect themselves.
Josh Thompson, an Army ROTC cadet at Tech, heads a student group pushing for concealed carry rights on campus.
It's like a part of everyday life. People grow up with guns. So if you have such a big part of your life like taken away, then that's going to have some effect around the world. Where I'm from, nearly everyone has a gun. So like the idea to just start taking those away is kind of far-fetched for me.
Not every person who is trying to advocate for gun safety is saying, hey, we're going to take away every single gun you have.
Andrew Bender, a senior at Tech, graduated from Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, 1 year before a gunman killed 17 of his peers.
You can still be a supporter of the Second Amendment, and I respect people to have those beliefs, but there's still measurements that we can take, such as the gun show loophole and universal background checks that can help minimize the amount of guns that are in the hands of people who shouldn't have them. Once you find that middle ground, like it's a lot easier to find things that you agree on over rather than the things you disagree on.
But building consensus on guns has been painstaking. In Virginia, even with Democrats in control, a long-sought ban on assault weapons failed to advance just last month.
Is there a lesson in Virginia?
Absolutely. Everybody's talking about, I want to be the next Virginia. You say we're going to do gun control. Boom, we're getting gun control done. You do not back down from your promises. You make sure that you keep faith with your people.
That forceful political message from Democrats in 2020 drawing an equally forceful response from pro-gun Republicans.
Elections have consequences. If the Democrats wants to get control and they try to do something on the federal level to increase the gun legislation, it's going to affect all of us. These gun owners that didn't come out and vote last year, they will be registered.
You're nodding, you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
You think there's going to be a big wave?
I do. I do believe the giant's not sleeping any longer.
In this key swing state with the wounds still fresh from unthinkable tragedies, many voters feel caught in the middle.
I think either extreme position is not healthy.
Hoping a deeply divided country can take even a small step toward compromise.
I'm an American first before I'm a Republican. And I'm hopeful that we can sit down and talk with folks and we will take a step back from the rhetoric.
For ABC News Live, I'm Devin Dwyer in Blacksburg, Virginia.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.